Good morning, everyone. I am dodging the sun here, but welcome to another morning of getting it done with gratitude. How are you all? So, today is Thursday, and you know that wherever you are, Thursday, it's all about getting it done with gratitude. And guess what? It's the 1st of February.
Yeah.
We are in the second month of 2024. Really? Already? Okay, so
Yeah.
you know what happens around this time? We've come off of the excitement of New Year's, we've come off of all of those happy, fuzzy feelings that we've had, all of that vigor that we had is kind of taking a little dip right now. And so Shelly and I wanted to hop in here this morning and say, don't lose that momentum. Remember your gratitude. Keep building your momentum because what we know to be true is that about this time, those goals or those resolutions or those intentions that you may have set during the first week of January, you might be losing a little bit of momentum. Why? Life happens. So don't beat yourself up. We're going to share with you today how we navigate when we are feeling that dip and what we do to really just get us back on track. And you guessed it, it's all to do with gratitude. So,
Mhm.
I'm Karen Williams Thompson, one of your co hosts. I am a life strategist and personal growth coach, and I help 40 plus women who are purpose driven get super clear on what it is that they want to achieve in life and help them to strategically plan so that they can successfully achieve their goals without the overwhelm, without the anxiety, so that they can just bask in that joy and fulfillment that they desire. So that's what I help women do in a nutshell. So I'm going to let Shelly introduce herself and then we're going to dive right into how we are going to be maintaining this momentum because 2024 is our year. So wherever we are getting the things done that we want to get done. So getting it done,
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Getting it done with gratitude because that is the only thing that can really help you keep going. And that's what I'm all about gratitude because I work with my clients, also 40 plus, because something happens at 40 that, it's like whatever was happening before that, suddenly a light bulb goes off and you start to pay attention to all the things that you wanted to do that you're not sure if you're going to get done, all the goals that you had for your life that you're suddenly thinking, am I going to achieve this? And sometimes, we wake up and we feel like if we're burning the candle at both ends, and then life gets so tedious and we add and add and add, thinking that that's the way to really get our goals accomplished. But I'm here to say that it's really about adding gratitude and not more tasks, because it's about working systematically and strategically through working on your habits that you really get things done. And so I teach my clients a gratitude strategy, which is about saying it right, managing self talk to help build that inner confidence. We talk about saying it aloud, which is about making the gratitude tangible and practical so that it infuses your entire being through all your senses. And then we talk about saying it always, which is maintaining that daily habit of gratitude, because that daily habit of gratitude is that keystone habit that grounds you in a way that you can add on the other habits and create the discipline and the resilience to really get it done. And while you're doing that, you're merging discipline with the bliss to get the blissipin, my absolute all-time favorite word right now, besides gratitude, because that is really what you're aiming for. You want to accomplish your goals in a structured, systematic way so that you can relax and, as Karen said, bask in that joy of accomplishment without the overwhelm. And so, talking about the maintenance and the recommitment is what I'm thinking of right now toward intentions and goals set earlier, that this is like one of the humps, one of the early ones, that kind of determines how you're going to progress for the rest of the year.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm.
so, the number one thing is to do it with gratitude. So I've thought about it, and I realized that for many people, the change and the impact that they want to make, they think that there's this huge grand step that they must take, and actually this this thing. Yeah.
Shelley, I almost felt as though I was losing you just now, but I think that self corrected. So, just
Oh, so you
meant
you you missed some of the audio?
yes, just the very last thing that you were saying. It dipped a little bit.
Ah, well, I could repeat that because what I said was they a lot of people think that when they want to make this change and they see in
Hmm.
themselves that they want to accomplish things and they know they have to change in order to do this, they think of these grand gestures and these, major steps that they have to take. But what it really begins is with a really tiny step, and that first tiny step is actually gratitude and expressing gratitude. And so what I often say is that, that change that you want to make begins with gratitude.
It does. And something else you said earlier, you talked about that daily habit that grounds you. And I really
Mhm,
want to just zero in on that word grounds you, because really that is what gratitude does for each of us. It grounds us. It grounds us in the presence of what is. But in being grounded, you are also able to focus on what's in front of you. And then when you're able to focus on what's in front of you, you're able to create a plan to take the next step. And so being grounded with the gratitude is really a very important habit to cultivate. And I think if we think about it, when a boat is out to sea and you don't want it drifting off, you drop the anchor to ground it. So
mhm,
it may
mhm,
move, the waves may punch it up and down, but it is really grounded unless something else of significance happens. So there are things, so that you could relate to it in another perspective. And then I wanted to encourage us because research has shown us that around this time, between now and say the 8th of February, a total of 43% of persons drop their goals and intentions that they would have made in at the beginning of the year. They get distracted, life happens, something comes up, and they just lose that momentum. But
mhm.
if you're grounded in the one habit and you can ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can do that's
Yeah.
going to take me in the direction of where I want to go? And then when you have answered that, and we love journaling between both of us, so that is perhaps something that you can take on and you can journal on that. But then when you have finished that one, try asking yourself, what is the one thing I can do less of? Because
Mhm,
you need then to create the space for the more that's coming, for what the gratitude is going to be bringing into your life. So what is it that you can do less of? I could do less of procrastinating and just taking action, because I procrastinate 3 times a week when I don't get up and just walk down the street and take my
Oh,
30-minute walk.
I have a special word for that. Procrastivity, because that's me. When people think of procrastination, they think, okay, you're not doing what you want to do, so maybe you're watching TV or you're just lazing about. Oh no. I find
Mhm.
lots of other productive things to do,
I'm telling you,
just not the thing that I'm supposed to be doing.
that's why we're sisters,
Yeah.
because I could so relate to that. And my son says, Mom, just go for the walk. Just walk down to the beach, turn around, and come back up. But I gotta go and do this, and I gotta finish this, and I'm going to do it tomorrow. You know. So,
Yeah.
what can you do
And
less
this
of?
is
That's
yeah,
my
and with
commitment of what I could do less of. Sorry, Shelley. Go ahead.
yeah, no, no, no. What I was I'm just chomping at the bits here because this is about forming habits, and
Yes.
that's my thing. And
Mhm.
so with that, when we talk about less procrastination, it it means filling in. When we take away something, we have to put something in, and
Mhm.
sometimes. the what we put in isn't necessarily the end result, like the walk, for example. So what and there are a couple other strategies like bundling. So, for example, I know that one of the things that you are very interested in is learning and developing, and you're always reading and listening to things. And so, if you bundle the walk with listening to a podcast,
Mm-hmm.
for example, so that you don't feel as if you're leaving away things, consider the walk. Let's say, how long does it take? How long does the walk normally take when you go?
Usually about 20, 30 minutes.
Oh, that's an awesome podcast that you could listen to right there. Most podcasts are, roughly about 30 minutes or so. You can get 30 minutes to an hour. So, one of the podcasts that you subscribe to that you really enjoy, dedicate that time to listening to it. And don't listen to it any other time of the day. The only time you get to listen to it is when you walk in the morning. And if it's a podcast that you really enjoy, that you look forward to, what's going to
Mm.
happen is that you'd be looking forward to the walk and your podcast time.
Wonderful suggestion. I am definitely going to put that into play. And
Mhm.
while you were talking there just now, what came up for me was creating daily habits. So, and the idea of
Mhm.
bundling it is really such a cool idea because I like the thought that I am not giving up something. I'm just bundling it with something else that I also want to do. So
Yeah.
the two of them are actually moving in harmony. So
Yes.
my other question this morning is, what are your daily habits? When you get up in the morning, what are your daily habits? Because this also helps you to stay on track and to have the success in life that you want. We we may trivialize these morning habits, but really it is the discipline that brings the bliss. Back to Shelley's word, is the
Oh, yeah.
discipline that
Discipline
brings
and
the bliss.
procrastivity.
Those two things are what come together when you create and maintain and be consistent at your daily habits. And when you master the morning routine, and it doesn't have to be long, it could be, if you're a person of faith, you may get up and do devotions. You may get up and do your journaling. You may get up and meditate. But what else do? You may go and make your morning shake, or you may have you may go and get your coffee brewing, or you may be a person that gets up and the first thing that you do is exercise. So what are the things that really make it your day, make your day
Mhm.
start the way you want it to be?
Energize you to get your day going. And I think that is
Exactly.
what the morning routine really is meant to do. Help you, feel that joy of coming into a new day and getting started and not just hopping into it. I used to just hop into it. From the minute my eyes open, I wake up, my mind reminds me of all the things that I need to do, and what I didn't do the day before, what's on the agenda. And so I was just constantly going. And so now I have instituted a few practices that help me remember today is a beautiful day of opportunity. I am exactly where I need to be. I open my heart to God and I trust in the unfolding of my life. I write that down. I say it in my mind, but when I get up out of bed, I write it down every single day. So it's not just about saying it, because remember, we're working with this whole multisensory input. And I discovered something when speaking with a group of teachers, because one of the things that I also do is to train students and teachers in creative writing at the primary school level. So I work with the students and get them interested, and not to hate writing, because a lot of students really just don't like writing. And I work with teachers to help them do the same with their own students. And while chatting with them, it in exploring the issue, I realized that what happens is that humans are multisensory beings. when we encounter life through multiple senses at a time. So, like right now, we're seeing, we're hearing, I'm wearing a headset, so I'm feeling that. I'm feeling the chair that I'm sitting on, if it's comfortable or not, the cool air around me, all of these things. So, with me speaking, there's a touch of my teeth and my tongue, and everything. There's a lot happening in terms of multiple senses engaging at a time. And then we have the emotions and the movement and all of that. And I'm a Trinidadian, so I speak with my hands. We have a joke, if you tie your hands, we can't speak. I believe that. So, so we're multisensory beings, yet a lot of times when we are intentionally focusing on something, we try to keep it to one sense. And that is going to make things more difficult for us. If we
Mm-hmm.
open things up to multisensory input, then we're more likely to get that multisensory output that we're aiming for.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're thinking of our habits and we're thinking of these morning routines, what we really ought to be embracing and engaging all the different senses. So when we get up and we take a deep breath, what is the smell or the pleasant feeling that we're getting? And then, when we're making the coffee or making the tea or the shake, the smells and the textures and all those things, just really embracing and enjoying that helps quite a lot in terms of energizing us for the morning. So it's not just getting an efficient, productive routine, it's getting a routine that really energizes us through all our senses, not just the laser focused one that we think we should be paying attention to, because we really should be embracing all of it.
Yeah. And when we get into that rhythm, getting into the rhythm of that routine or those habits that we've built for ourselves, it enhances our ability to focus. And this is
Yes.
how we're going to help, this is how we help ourselves then to maintain that momentum, to build on the momentum that we had at the start of the year, so that even as the dip happens, we know that tomorrow morning we're going to get up and we will rhythmically get into our routine that's going to energize us. In that space, then we are able to see the day ahead from a totally fresh and clear perspective. And that allows us to stay focused on where we are
Yeah.
going. And
Yeah.
then, if you have a plan, which I really encourage everyone to do, and if you need help, that's me,
Yes.
then let's talk about it. But if you have a plan, in that moment you have your routine, you have everything, you're able to execute the plan that you have created. And by
Yeah.
executing the plan, whether that plan is something for the day or something that's building towards something in the future, what is happening is you are maintaining the momentum. You are building the focus. You're staying focused, so therefore you're staying on track. And that then releases all of those good feelings within,
Hmm.
which then when you express your gratitude builds on that. So now it's magnified and it's amplified. And guess what? You are on your way and you've been able then to break the cycle, to not have that dip and to go right down, because you know that there's something that's in your control that you can do to get you back on track. And it's something
Hmm.
that you determine. So you determine what energizes you and how you want that morning to be. And I also want to say, it doesn't have to be half an hour. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes. You get to decide. You get to decide if every morning I want to set aside 15 minutes, or if you want to then, during the course of your day, set a reset time. I know that there are persons who, for example, will take 10 minutes in the morning, and then in the afternoon, they're going to take 10 minutes and they're just going to do their whole routine
Yeah.
then and to reset because that's what works for them. So it's really about exploring what works for you and building those habits. But remember, we get to do it every single day. And this is part of this program. Just by showing you every Thursday morning we get to come here and share with you the joys of life, getting it done with gratitude. But this
You
is
know,
something that's intentional, that we get up every morning at 7 a.m. our time, 6 a.m. somebody else's time, etc., because we know the benefit of being consistent and the gratitude that comes with it.
yeah, I laughed because every um after every session I am thoroughly energized. And I remember last week I sent you the message, I got my gratitude fixed today, so I'm good.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I think that is it, because like today is not as if, um we always, bound out of bed, like those Disney princesses,
Yeah,
bound out of bed, and we're in the nature and we're singing, and it's not always like that. Like this morning, I had a time of it yesterday. In Trinidad and Tobago, we're getting, you know, graced with dust, and it's like when I go outside, normally I see bright blue skies and, you know, vibrant green mountains, but today the mountains are hidden behind this haze. Yesterday they were hidden behind this haze, and with the and my eyes are itchy and burning, and yesterday was a real time of it. And I got up this morning, so Karen messaged me this morning, it's like, are you okay? We not quite hearing from you the way I'm supposed to, right? So yeah. And I was just thinking, yeah, I'm getting up, I'm doing this, I'm getting up. And then I started putting in my systems in place. And so when it comes to habits, it's not just about forcing yourself to do something. That
yeah.
never works. It really
Mhm.
never works. What you're really working on is encouraging yourself to do it and supporting yourself in doing it. And so when I woke this morning, I went through my mantra, and I have my phrases and sentences that get me going. And then I remind myself I get to do this. And I know from history that every time I do it, I feel energized. So I know what to expect, and I know how it's going to impact on me. And so while it was a challenge getting up, and, you know, I have to do the eye drops, and then shortly after this, I'm going to do some more because I'm feeling it. I'm indoors and I'm still feeling it. I get to do this, and I get that joy and that interaction, and to share about gratitude and habits. And so I got up and I got myself prepared, and I'm here. And it wasn't to say that it was easy, but I got it done through reminding myself, and the fact that I absolutely feel grateful for this opportunity. And I reminded myself of that. And that's how gratitude helps you when it is you're feeling the dip. And, like for the 43% of people who are, January has just finished. And so their whole idea of change and development for the year is totally out of it, dipped, and so on. You get to regroup, you get
Yes.
to step back, take a look at it, and see, okay, that hasn't been working. Let me try something else that works, and, see if something else would work. And so developing a habit is not a linear progression. I mean, there's this graphic that goes around, what we think happens in life, and then what actually happens with all the, zigzags and so on. And
Hmm.
that's how habit formation works as well. Habit formation is not a linear, just straight linear thing. I set this in place, and because I've thought it out, it'll work perfectly, and then I have no changes. What happens is that there's a period of experimentation, and we keep adjusting and testing and seeing what works. And so, like for me, they like writing the gratitude.
Hmm.
um I There was a time when I thought, okay, after I do this, before I do that, and I kept shifting until I came to a point where I found a time and a space that works and a method that works for me. And so, but it didn't come immediately. It was
Hmm.
through a period of experimentation. So when we talk about, okay, people quitting their goals, what
Hmm.
I think is that when we start a goal, things don't go smoothly immediately. And so that often discourages us and makes us think, well, okay, this is not working. And that's okay if it doesn't work right away. And so, what I want to remind people this morning is that I know at this point, many people are feeling the burn, they're feeling the dip in energy, and so on. And that's okay. Now you get to step back, take a look at things, see, okay, this part didn't work. Maybe if I adjust it this way, and then you make the adjustment and you go again for February, and then you
Yeah.
keep monitoring. And then at the end of February, you come back and you check, okay, this is working, so I'm going to keep this. This part isn't quite working, so I'm going to adjust this. And then you go
Hmm.
again for March. And so that's the cycle. It's a cycle of experimentation. And so rather than thinking things are not working, so I'm going to quit, rethink that to be things aren't working. Let me see if I could try something else that might work.
Exactly. Yeah. At that point, what can I do less of? Or what can I do more of? What do I need to change so that I can have the result that I want? Because you're right. When you speak about goals and things happen to bump us along the way, it is so tempting, so very tempting to start to say to yourself, you see, this wasn't meant for me. I knew that I was biting off more than I could chew. It's
Hmm.
really tempting to go down that line, and that is where the habit of gratitude needs to step in.
Yeah.
Because in that time, if you turn it around to say, this is where I have gotten, this is what I have
Hmm.
accomplished, okay, it may not be exactly where I want it to be. What do I need to do more of? What do
Hmm.
I need to do less of that is going to help me stay focused and on track here? What are the habits that I need to tweak or adjust now because I've tried it this way, and maybe if I make this little shift, that might work out better.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
going to give myself some grace, and I'm going to make the adjustments, and I'm going to go again, because it's not about giving up. And that's what gratitude helps you with,
Yeah.
not giving up. Because when you focus on what you are grateful for and what you have, the encouragement then, even just for yourself, is to keep going.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
you
why it's
know,
about getting it done.
and you could even be, if you're not seeing it, let's say you tried something and no part of it worked. That is still a point of there's a bit of discouragement, yes, because of course we want things to work, but
Hmm.
then you can still be grateful for, okay, I tried. That's one aspect of the thing. You tried something. You're not just sitting back and allowing life to happen to you. You are engaging. And so you tried something. And that is something to be proud of. Plus, you found something that doesn't work. So, don't do that again. Right? And
Yeah.
you can be grateful for that discovery because that's an important discovery, not to do that again.
I tell people all the time, and especially clients when they start to get a little discouraged because they're not seeing the results as quickly as they want to, or it's not happening now. Is that there's no such thing as failure. What we learn is a way that it did not work, but it gives us an opportunity. It gives us an opportunity to revisit it and to look and to see what is another way of doing it. So there's no wrong way. You've just discovered a way that it didn't work at that time for whatever you were doing or for you specifically. But it's also an opportunity. And that is what gratitude is showing us. It is always an opportunity. So even as Shelley mentioned, it doesn't work. It looks as if the results are not happening.
Yeah.
In that moment, you're still able to discover, oh, maybe I could just change this and do it. It's like, no, I can get my podcast, schedule it on my phone, put on my pretty pink sneakers, and head through the door.
Yeah. And
So
this
it's
is
just
this
about
is
reframing.
why this is why talking it out and having a coach can help. So, whatever habit that you're trying to implement and you're trying to make changes, habit coaches do this all the time. And they assist, just getting that kind of clarity. What do you
Yes,
enjoy? Can you merge this? Can you try this? So, really reaching out to a coach and engaging someone that you can have this conversation with that can give you that little bit of extra clarity and help you see things in ways that you may not have seen them. And this is how what we call compressed time. So rather than
hmm
you
hmm,
working alone and trying and this didn't work, trying and that didn't work, trying and this didn't work, why not have a chat with someone who has had lots of conversations with all sorts of different people who they may be able to bring some insight and help you instead of take 2 months to figure it out, they can help you figure it out in a week or 2 weeks or less
absolutely. Yeah,
because
no,
of the insight that they bring.
yes, absolutely. And every single time that I work with a client, and I ask them, what were your biggest takeaways? It was holding them accountable.
Hmm.
So, me holding them accountable for the things that they have said they wanted to achieve, that is what they really and truly value. They love the transformation. They are ecstatic about achieving the goals, but the thing that they really appreciated was
Yeah.
being held
So they're not
accountable.
alone. They're not alone
Exactly.
going
Yes.
after this. They have
Yeah.
support. They have
Right.
someone in their corner saying, "Hey, I know you could do
You
this.
got this.
I can help. Let me
Hmm.
support you," and so on. Yep.
Yep. That's it.
That's it. That's it right there.
Because I just looked at the clock, so I said, "That's
Me
it."
too, me too. Listen, one of these days we must, try an hour and see, yes, because the 30 minutes just goes. But we know you
Yeah.
guys are busy people and you're getting it done with gratitude. So we want to try to keep it, within a time that you can get what you need and rejuvenate and go.
And go.
So join us again next week and then so we can continue the conversation because it's a long conversation. It's going to be continued because we're here with you helping you see that with gratitude, you really, really can get it done. So take care, everyone, and see you next week.
Bye for now.
Bye bye. Take care.